Now time for News Extra, brought to you by Intralinks. And here's Kevin Mooney.
Thank you, Dennis, and good morning, everyone. We have our two guests today, Kerri Schnase-Berge and Jeff Wolfe. They're here to talk about the half-cent sales tax measure that's going to be on the November 8th ballot when you go to vote on that day, or if you're going to be voting in the next week, if you're doing the early voting like I tend to do and some others tend to do. So that's why it's good we got these guys in here early before a lot of people vote and talk about this half-cent sales tax measure that's going before voters. I guess, Kerri, that's all of this is going for infrastructure improvements, right?
Yes, that's correct. Proposition 1 is a tool that the city of Gering can use based off of LB 357 to help diversify our revenues in the city. And every single penny would be going towards infrastructure projects that are very sorely needed there within the city of Gering.
Yeah, you mentioned yesterday during the media comment, we have water mains, and we have a lot of water mains in Gering that are aging, like 1920 and stuff, right?
Right. We have a water main, actually, Kevin, in the ground in Gering that is dated to 1917. There's a sewer main, according to Pat Heath, that is from 1925. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we've got some very old pipes in the ground that are eventually going to need replacing. This particular proposition will either allow us to be proactive and go after those, or reactive when they burst and we need to deal with them.
Yeah. And Jeff, I guess if you're reactive to this, it ends up costing you probably a little more money than if you're proactive, especially with the bond rates at all-time lows right now, right?
Absolutely, Kevin. I mean, anytime you've got to make a repair after an accident, you're going to pay considerably more. You know, there's going to be more damage done, and of course, it's emergency, so the costs go up. So scheduling the repair ahead of time, bidding it out competitively always saves you some money. You know, as federal funds dry up and state funds dry up, the cities are still left with their infrastructure to maintain. And so this is just another tool, like Kerri said, in the toolbox to help pay for all of this infrastructure that everybody uses every day. And the nice thing is, this is sales tax. So if people are purchasing items, they're using the community, and so it's kind of a user tax. If you use the community, you help pay for it.
Yeah, and Gering's not unique. And I mean, Scottsbluff even tried to get this tax passed in May, and they barely. I think it lost 52 to 48. So. But they didn't have maybe the grassroots effort that you guys are doing to try to get the word out, and that's one of the big things, right?
Yeah, there are actually 11 communities. I called the League of Municipality, and there are 11 communities that have actually managed to get this passed. One of the closer ones is Sydney, and they passed it in 2012, which was the year actually that LB 357 was signed. So this really is a very important tool for the smaller communities to get some help on these infrastructure projects that are piling up and that we just can't stay on top of for a variety of reasons, like Jeff mentioned, mostly because of federal mandates and you know, the money's just not there.
Yeah. And we've spent, Jeff, people will ask, well, why didn't you save up for this? Well, I think a lot of these towns did save up for it in the past, but they ended up having to use that money to pay for the unfunded mandates that always come down, right?
That's right. I mean, it's not that Gering hasn't been saving money in the fees they're collecting from their citizens, but over the past 5 to 10 years, Gering has had to make multi-million-dollar improvements to water and sewer systems because the federal government has changed the limits on quality standards, whether that's the discharges for the sewer system or the drinking water quality standards. And so when these mandates come out from the federal government, there's no funds from the federal government to help make these changes. So Gering has to take all of their reserves that they've been saving up for the improvements and put them towards the unfunded mandates to get them in compliance. And so it's not that Gering or any of the other communities around here haven't been saving, it's just that they can't keep up. The rates they're trying to obtain from their citizens are low. They're trying to keep those reasonable so everybody can afford them. And in the same time, they're saving some money, but the savings is being gobbled up by the unfunded mandates. And so this this tool is another method to try and make some improvements that are desperately needed. Like Kerri said, some 100-year-old water mains definitely need to be replaced.
All right, we'll talk more right after this.
Is your wireless computer network secure? With their years of professional service, you can trust Intralink's technical solutions to keep your small or medium business computer system up and running. Not having a secure wireless network can put your computers at risk. Call Intralinks at 632-6590 to have one of their highly experienced techs set up, troubleshoot, and secure your wireless network. For weekly tips and information, friend Intralinks on Facebook at intralinks.net/Facebook.
We are back on News Extra today, talking with Kerri Schnase-Berge and Jeff Wolfe. They are part of a grassroots effort to educate people about this half-cent sales tax ballot issue that's going to be considered by Gering voters on November 8th. And by some of you guys that are doing the early voting in the next couple weeks, you'll also have, of course, that on your ballot as well. There is an informational meeting on this coming up, Kerri, not very far away, right?
No, that's correct. We're going to have an informational meeting on Wednesday, November 2nd at 5:30 p.m. at the City of Gering in the council chambers. And this would be a great opportunity for folks who want to come and get more information. We've asked some city staff to be there to help answer questions that Jeff and I, frankly, can't answer. And hopefully express some of their thoughts. We want to really open communication between the city and the voters, and we're hopeful that this informational campaign will be one way that we can do that successfully.
All right, November 2nd, 5:30 p.m., City of Gering Council Chambers. This is like some of the other sales tax measures that folks have already passed. It does have a sunset, right, Jeff?
That's correct. It's got a 10-year sunset period unless the tax is tied to a municipal bond that goes beyond the 10 years. But otherwise, it sunsets at 10 years. So it isn't perpetual. It doesn't go on forever.
All right. So once again, and there's a Community Redevelopment Authority, there's another committee that determines what projects are going to be funded,
That's right. The city is set up a Community Redevelopment Authority, or a CRA. And like Kerri said, I really encourage everybody to come on November 2nd and get more information about the project. It's desperately needed in Gering to help make these improvements. And I encourage the voters to get out and gain knowledge. This meeting on November 2nd will really help you do that.
All right. Okay, you guys, very good. Kerri Schnase-Berge and Jeff Wolfe today, our guests, talking about the half-cent sales tax ballot issue that Gering voters will consider on November 8th. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Kevin.
Your trusted voice for weather, KNEB, Scottsbluff, Gering, 960 AM, and now on 100.3 FM.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston.